thank you all for coming. Welcome to the online open day for Middlesex University. I've already had the opportunity to chat with lots of you in the UniBuddy chat room, which has been great. It's been really active discussion. If you have any outstanding questions after this presentation, please do join us there. I'll be there till 3 and there's other colleagues there who can also help you. Hopefully you are all here because you are interested in studying with us for the BA Business Management programme, which also includes the fast track option, the top up option, and all the pathways. So project management, supply chain management, entrepreneurship and innovation pathway, or the BA International Business programme. So I'm going to be able to give you information that's helpful for all of those programmes. My name is Dr. Sian Stevens. I'm a senior lecturer and I'm also the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Programmes in the department which delivers these programmes. I don't think I've put my email address on here, but I'll put it in the chat bar when I finished because it's useful for you to know how you can get in touch with me. But because I teach and because I also have some involvement in sort of organising things, I'm a good person to ask questions to. So I'll just give you a bit of information about the university. Probably you've all done some research already, so I'm not going to go on too long about it. We are a very big university. We are a very well-respected university, and we're a very global university. I'll come on to this a bit more as I progress through the talk, but I'm sure you're all well aware that we are living in a very global society right now, regardless of how limited our travel options are currently. And Middlesex University is based in London with connections all over the world, and you really can't get a better setup than that. That combination of being based in the capital city while having this really global outlook is something that will be really helpful to you as you go on to study, presumably hoping to get careers in business. We're also well ranked. You can see that we're ranked well in the Times Education Young University ranking and in the World University ranking. It's not that important, but it is good to know that Middlesex University has a good reputation. We were the first university, we introduced the UK's first business degree over 50 years ago. So we know what we're doing when it comes to teaching business. We're one of the largest business schools in London. And we've got really good, strong connections with our local community and with our London community, and as I say, with the global community. We aim to equip our graduates with the knowledge and the skills and the global outlook they need to build a successful career. We know that you are doing this degree as an investment in your future. We know that what you want out of this, in addition to a great time and learning lots of interesting information, you want to learn how to get a good job afterwards. And we also want that for you. So everything we do in the business school is geared towards that because we know that's what you want. There are 4 different departments in the business school: economics, accounting and finance, marketing, branding and tourism, and management, leadership and organisations. I am coming to you from the Management, Leadership and Organisations department, and the 2 programmes that we're focusing on today sit within that department. But I've told you about those other departments because you'll be able to pick and choose some modules from those departments, which means that you can get quite a broad degree. Even though you're sitting within the management department, if you've got like an interest in, or you think it would be useful to know more about those other subjects, there's the opportunity for you to learn from the experts we have in those other departments as well. So coming back to this idea of getting you career ready, because this is such an important aspect of the degrees that we offer, we've put quite a lot of time and resource and energy into making sure that all of our degrees are developed to reflect what we know employers want. And the way that we can prove that we've done that is that we have these professional body affiliations. So the one I'll talk to you about is the Chartered Management Institute. So the degrees that I'm talking to you about today are accredited by the Chartered Management Institute. That's the industrial body for management. So it is the organisation that represents the needs and interests of managers. We've consulted with them about how best to design degrees that will produce good managers, and we've designed the degrees, and then in return they have agreed that all of our graduates will be accredited members of the Chartered Management Institute. So when you graduate from a degree with us, you have your academic qualification, but you also have this professional affiliation, which shows employers that you're employment ready. You're not just a recent graduate, you're someone who's thought about and has been educated in a way that makes them a good prospective employee. And I'm sure you can see that that's a really valuable thing to have in today's employment market. In addition to these professional affiliations, something else that we can offer you is a range of experts in whatever field it is that you are interested in. So I'm a senior lecturer, as I say, so you'll be taught your topics by someone like me. We are enthusiastic and skilled. We're all qualified both academically and in terms of teaching. We all have a postgraduate certificate in higher education, which means that we're not only knowledgeable about the subject, we are able to communicate it to you well, because both things are important. You don't want someone who knows what they're talking about but can't explain it. We know what we're talking about and we can explain it. Really, really important. In addition to this commitment we have to really high quality teaching, however, we are also very well-respected researchers in our field, and we have a lot of highly qualified practitioners. So we have both full-time members of staff and guest lecturers who are working within industry at the same time. So they can share with you their sort of up-to-date real-world knowledge as well as their connections. We have ongoing strong links with all different kinds of industries that will give you opportunities for work placements or just to meet people or to find out more about what's going on in the real world. And we also make sure that we're keeping totally up to date on what's happening in the real business world. That's to make things interesting and relevant to you, but it's also as part of this commitment to employability. And in addition to this commitment that we have to making sure that we are teaching you really useful and important information, we're very concerned that you're doing okay. That's really important to all of us. Your well-being, the well-being of our students is, I would say, a dual priority. Number one, that you get a good degree that you can get a job out of. Number two, that you are generally doing okay and having a good time. So in order to help you with the latter part of doing okay and having a good time, we have a huge range of resources to help you adjust to university life, adjust to that transition from college or high school to university academic study. So we have things like graduate academic assistants who are recent graduates who are in the classroom with you and who are available outside of the teach any questions you have about the material covered in class. We have a really well-equipped library, and it's worth emphasising, I guess, that our library resources are available online as well as offline. We have a dedicated learning enhancement team who are there to help you with what we would call study skills. So things like how to write properly for university, if you're worried about your English language, math, stats and numeracy, which I know a lot of students maybe lack confidence in. So there's a dedicated department that will help you with these skills in addition to the academic modules that you're studying. We have really well-resourced employability services, so people that you can go to speak to help you write your CV, identify any work experience that you might benefit from. We have an enterprise development hub, which is a group that will help you to develop a business idea and turn it into a business. So that's an amazing resource because I know that a lot of our students have great ideas. And of course, like most people, would have no idea how to turn that great idea into an actual business. So the Enterprise Development Hub can help you with that. And then we have a lot of resources and teams to help you with anything that you're struggling with. So we have a counselling service, we have a wellbeing app, which is the Fika app. We have the wellbeing service, we have a white wall where you can share your concerns. We have a students' union, which I guess is something that all universities have. Our students' union, I think, is really, really good. They're really good at representing our students' interests. They're really good at representing the diversity of our students. And they're very active in making sure that students get what they need and what they want from the university. And that's that. This is my last slide. I've gone through it really quickly, but I just think the most important thing is that you have the time to ask me any questions that you have come up with. So I'm just going to give you the information I think you need to help you decide what you should be doing about university and about your degree. I know things are really uncertain right now, but we are committed to making sure that you can get a meaningful university experience starting in autumn. We have a really active online community, we always have, but that's become more important and maybe more used since the recent move to online teaching. A Middlesex University degree has always been designed to give you the resources and the resilience, as well as the knowledge, to thrive in a really changeable global context. It's not new that things change quite quickly. That's always been true, and it's particularly true in business. So all of our degrees have been designed to make sure that you are able to respond to those changes. We've got a really strong community. I've always been really proud of our students because of how nice they are to each other and how nice they are to me. And I know that those connections that our students make at university last well into the future. And having taught a little bit in the past couple of months since we did move to online teaching, I've been able to see that those communities and those connections have lasted. They are just as strong, even though right now they're being exercised online. Those sort of friendships and that supportive atmosphere really has lasted. All of the support services and resources I've described to you will be available to you when and if we're able to deliver face-to-face teaching, and they'll also be available to you online. And if you just want to find out a little bit more about our online community, you should check out our Instagram, which is at Middlesex University. Okay, that is all I'm going to say, because I think I could see that the chat room was quite active. Let me see if I can get into that. Okay, so it wasn't as active as I thought, but don't worry, I've got plenty more to say to you. Okay, so this is a question that's come up for me in the Q&A section, and this is also a question that came up quite a lot in the Unibuddy chat room. And it's a question about whether or not you need to be good at maths to do a degree like the BA Business Management degree. And I'll give you the answer that I've given to lots of other students who share your concern. You don't need to be good at maths to do a business management degree. However, to get a job in business or management, you do need to have some evidence that you can do maths. So we cannot leave it out of the degree, even though it's not the most popular subject. It's really important that we show that our graduates can do the things that businesses want them to do. What I can promise you, however, is that you would not in any way be the only student who is worried about this. And as a university, we will give you as much help as you need to make sure that whatever confidence you're lacking now in business, in maths, you will have when you graduate. No, you don't need to be strong at it. You need to be willing to work at it. Okay, well, as far as I can tell, that's the only question that we've come up with so far. I'll try and remember, oh, here we go. Professional placements for international students. Liz, could you clarify, do you mean how easy or difficult is it for you to get a work placement while you're studying here? So okay, brilliant. Well, it's definitely possible. I wouldn't want to comment on how easy it is. And maybe your question is also a little bit to do with the visa conditions of that as an international student. I will tell you that I know it's very common, thank you. Lots of our students do it and do it successfully. There is a dedicated service for helping you to identify and secure your placements. As far as I'm aware, there are visas on offer which our students do get, which allow them to do work placements. I've supervised a few different work placement students myself, all of whom have been international students, and they've been brilliant, but there's been nothing particularly unusual about them. So I'm sure that it's definitely possible. Easy, I don't know, but doable, yes. Okay, so it's highly competitive in Australia. I don't think that's the case here. Again, not to disparage the students I've supervised. If it were competitive, they would have got it. But as far as I can tell, the process was relatively straightforward. So no, there is no sorry, there's another question come up that said, is a work placement included in this degree? No, not automatically, but with all of our degrees, you do have the option of doing either a short or a long placement. So we call it a thin or a thick sandwich. A thin sandwich has, I think, 1 term's placement in the middle of your degree, and a thick sandwich would have a full year's placement in the middle of your degree. And that's an option for all of the students on all of the programs. And then there's 2 questions here about the foundation year. The first question is there a foundation degree in business management? And the answer is yes. So what that would mean is that you would do a 4-year degree. You would do a foundation year, and then you would join the BA Business Management program in year 1. Is foundation year a great way to start me up for a business management degree if I'm a mature student? Yes, that's a really good question. I also teach on some of the foundation modules. They're very popular with mature students who feel like they kind of want to upskill or reintegrate themselves into the academic environment. I think it would be worth talking to your program leader, however, to see if you need to do the foundation year. If you have professional experience that we could sort of accept in lieu of academic qualifications, it's worth checking with the program leader if that's something you're interested in. But I know that some mature students actually really want to do the foundation year because it's that extra bit of confidence before they start year 1. What type of jobs do your graduates typically do? Good question. So there's a huge range. So lots will go on to do like graduate recruitment schemes for management companies. Lots will go on to work in a management position in the place that they either did their placement or that they were doing their part-time work at university. Lots will go on to start their own businesses because there is an emphasis on enterprise and entrepreneurship at Middlesex University. Lots will go on to do postgraduate study. Really, the world is your oyster. We only have years 1, 2 and 3 in Australia. Okay, yes, so the question is, what's the difference between foundation year and year 1? And the difference is that if you do 3 years of study, so you do year 1, year 2, year 3, you will have done a BA honours degree. BA honours degree, sorry, I shouldn't abbreviate it. The foundation year sits on top of that. So a foundation year is to get you ready for year 1. Not everyone will need to or want to do a foundation year. If you have the required qualifications already, then you can start in year 1. If you have been out of education for a while, or if you weren't able to get the grades you needed to start in year 1, then you might choose to or be asked to do the foundation year just to make sure that you are starting year 1 at the same level as everyone else. What have we? Okay, so another question about maths. Yeah, I do sense a theme. In terms of admissions requirements, you will need to speak to your program leader. Kamal, if you could tell me which program you're interested in, I can tell you who that is. So it sounds like you've got a better grade at A-level than you had at GCSE. So if you have the 112 class points required for your program, then I think you'll be all right. But the best thing to do is to talk to the individual program leader who's ultimately responsible for admissions. And obviously in the current circumstances, we are trying to be a bit more flexible and to make sure that we're really fair to students. So it's good to get that personalised response from someone who can give you a better insight about your specific circumstances. Are there any entry requirements to join the foundation degree? Again, you would need to speak to the program leader about this. I think you will need to have some GCSE or equivalent qualifications, and there will be English language requirements as well. So if you can tell me which program you're interested in, I can tell you who to ask specifically. What can we do during the lockdown period as a bonus that we can include in our personal statements? What a great question. Well, I guess it depends on the conditions of your lockdown, because I know some people are shielding more than others and self-isolating more than others. I'm sure there are voluntary opportunities in your community that could help you demonstrate some of the skills that would be useful for a degree like business management, things like project management, things like team working. But you can also just take the opportunity to read up on the subjects that are interesting you. If you do know which program it is you're interested in, again, you could contact your program leader and ask if there's any reading that you could be doing to prepare you for the course. Once you have accepted an offer from Middlesex, we will give you access to our My Learning pages, where we have something called bridging material, which is like a package of material to help you prepare for your degree. So once you have access to that, that's something that can keep you busy over the summer if you're bored. But that's a really good question. I think it's really worth thinking about. It is hard to pick up on those skills when we can't go out into the world as much as we'd like to. But even things like brushing up on your online teaching and learning skills, so doing things like this is really useful. Maybe you could look at doing an online course to help you improve in areas of knowledge that you think you are lacking. That's off the top of my head. I might be able to come up with some better ones later. Okay, so there's a question here about maths again. Do you think the maths subjects are doable for someone who hasn't had maths in a few years? Well, it depends on what you mean. If you have studied maths before, but it was just a few years ago, then yes, I think you'll be fine. If you have a gap in your maths qualification, you might want to think about the foundation year. I myself am not a maths person, and I do empathise with this worry that students have about maths. But I just like to reassure you all again that it's not like we throw you in the deep end, and the maths is a tiny part of the programme. I might have overemphasised this. I just didn't want to lie and tell you that you wouldn't have to do any, but you won't have to do much, and the maths you do have to do, we will really help you. I promise you that even if you think you are terrible at maths, we won't rest until you have more confidence. Do you get to pick which company you do your placement with? Yes, you do. We will help you find a placement, but it is ultimately up to you to find a placement that suits you. So more specifically, the question is, what company can I do a placement with? Well, any company that will have you, really. But we will help you develop a way of approaching that well. Can I give you an outline of the BA Business Management course? I can, but I won't. What I will do is direct you. Actually, maybe Savannah, could you join me in the Unibuddy chat room after this, and I will post you a link to where you can find an outline of all of our modules for all of our, well, no, where you can find an outline of the modules for that program. Inna's maths. It really depends on your own confidence. It might be worth considering the foundation year, because the foundation year will help you to boost the skills you already have. How much can a person earn straight after the degree? Oof. I mean, that just depends massively on what field you choose to go into. Frankly, I'm not sure what a graduate salary is in London right now. But whatever the graduate salaries are, you would be you'd be more likely to get a graduate salary after getting a degree from Middlesex University than without it. We would make sure that you were really ready for the job market and that you were really employable. So hopefully you would get whatever the graduate salary is on offer. Okay. There's more in the Q&A, which I might have missed. Okay, I've got 2 more minutes and I've got more questions and I will try and summarise them. Entry requirements for most programmes are 112 UCAS points, which will differ, or you will need to look at your qualifications if they are from non-UK institutions. There is information on the website about how to translate international qualifications into the qualifications you need for this degree. What should we include in our personal statement to stand out? It would be really useful to know why you're interested in this subject, what you want to do next, why you've chosen Middlesex University, and what it is about you that is interesting and special. Are there any opportunities to work abroad? Yes, there are opportunities to work abroad, and we also have a BA Business Management degree with Mandarin. So you say that you speak Chinese, you could do that degree and you would have more opportunities to work in Chinese speaking countries. There's a question here about if you're not accepted into year 1, would you be able to get into the foundation year? If you're not accepted into year 1, the person who's made that decision will tell you whether or not they think you should apply for the foundation year. The foundation year is a really good way of making sure that you meet the qualification requirements. Is there a way of starting the foundation year in this course and then switching to a business management course of the language? Yes, you could do that. Who can I ask about the entry requirements for business and Spanish? Okay, so the business management with Spanish program is confusingly run in the marketing and tourism department. Again, Guy, if you can meet me in the Unibuddy chat room after this, I can send you the specific link to help you contact them. Andrea, you contact the program leader just by email, but I guess the tricky part is finding out what their email address is. It should be on the university website, but again, if you meet me in the Unibuddy chat room after this and you have a specific program in mind, I'll give you their details. So there's quite a few questions about what do I do if my GCSEs aren't very good, and then some with the caveat, but my A-levels are good. You should speak to the individual program leaders about this. If your A-levels are good, I think it's definitely worth talking to us. And as I say, we are trying to be fair to students given the current circumstances. So we are able to take your personal circumstances into consideration. Okay, I think that's my time. Catherine is joining to say that. Okay.
Yeah, no, Shan, it's me, Harper. Yeah, I just want to say thanks. And for any attendees who had any sort of unanswered questions or want some more insight to the course, just head over to Unibuddy and we'll attend your questions.
Thank you. I mean, I realise that there's quite a few I've missed actually in the question and answer box. So please do come and join us in the Unibuddy chat room. There's more of me in there, so we'll be able to help you.
Brilliant. All right, Shan, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, guys. All right, bye.